Peppa Pig has been running since 2004, which means the animators have had over 20 years to get things right. And in that time, they have made a truly spectacular number of mistakes. Not subtle ones either. Not things you have to freeze frame and squint at. I mean, things that are just sitting there, in the middle of the screen, in episodes that went out on national television and were watched by millions of children and their perfectly awake, coffee-drinking parents. Today, we're going to go through them, episode by episode, mistake by mistake, starting right at the very beginning of the series because they were already getting things wrong in episode 2. Season 1, episode 2. The episode is called Mr. Dinosaur is Lost. It is the second episode of the entire series. They hadn't even finished the first week of broadcasting, and the mistakes were already piling up. In this episode, Peppa and Daddy Pig are playing drafts. That's checkers for anyone watching outside the UK, while Mummy Pig reads a book. George is outside. He comes back in crying because Mr. Dinosaur's missing. And here is the mistake. When George bursts into the room sobbing,
Here I come.
the pieces that Peppa had claimed from Daddy Pig during their game, pieces that were sitting right there in front of her, clearly visible, have completely disappeared. She didn't move them. She didn't put them back. Nobody touched the board. They just ceased to exist between shots. Now, to be fair, this is episode 2. The animators were just getting warmed up. They were only going to get more creative with their mistakes from here. But there is another problem in the same episode.
Again?
When the family walks out of the house to search for Mr. Dinosaur, George is smiling. He is a child who has just lost his most beloved toy, and he is smiling. But then, a few seconds later, when they arrive in front of the tree, George is frowning.
Am I supposed to be…
He has now remembered that he is supposed to be upset. The smile lasted approximately 3 seconds before someone apparently reminded him how the scene was supposed to go. This is a boy who cries for 5 minutes anytime someone looks at him sideways. He does not smile on the way to find his missing toy. Moving forward to the episode called New Shoes. This is a bedtime scene. Mummy Pig is asking Peppa about her new red shoes, and while this conversation is happening, you can clearly see George's bed. Mr. Dinosaur's not there. The bed is completely empty, no toy, just a pillow and a blanket. Then a moment later, when George says goodnight and the camera shows his bed again, Mr. Dinosaur's right there next to him. He did not walk in. Nobody brought him in. He was not under the blanket before. He just appeared. And the thing is, Mr. Dinosaur is George's most prized possession in the entire show. The entire second episode is about how devastated George is when the toy goes missing for 20 minutes. So for the animators to forget where Mr. Dinosaur is, in George's own bed, in a later episode is really something. They forgot the one prop that has its own dedicated storyline. Now let us talk about the episode called The Playgroup Star, because this one has a mistake that is impressive for how slowly it happens. The episode is about Peppa's parents going to playgroup and whether they will get a star for good behavior. At the start of the episode, at around 49 seconds in, Peppa is holding a picture she made. The picture has a white background, very clear, white. Then, a few seconds later, at around 1 minute 11 seconds, Peppa asks Daddy Pig whether he got a playgroup star.
Daddy, did you get lots of playgroup stars too?
And she is still holding what is clearly the same picture. Except now the background is blue. It changed while she was holding it, without anyone touching it. The picture repainted itself mid-conversation. And the reason this is particularly funny is that the whole episode is about whether Peppa's parents are paying enough attention in class. They are literally being evaluated on focus and concentration. And in the background of that very episode, a prop is changing color while everyone stands around not noticing. Season 2 now, and the episode called
Rebecca Rabbit.
The family is at the table. Mr. Rabbit is there. He says, and I am quoting the show directly here,
Rabbits love carrots.
and on Peppa's plate, there are 3 carrots. You can count them. 1, 2, 3. Then George reaches over and eats one of the carrots from the plate. 1 carrot gone. So now there should be 2, but in the very next shot, the plate is completely empty. All 3 carrots are gone. George ate 1 carrot and somehow the other 2 went with it. I do not know where they went. Maybe they followed the first one out of loyalty. Maybe the animators got tired of drawing carrots. Either way, Mr. Rabbit announced his love of carrots, and then the carrots vanished, and nobody said a word about it. And while we are on the subject of characters vanishing, let us discuss the episode called Emily Elephant, because Madame Gazelle disappears in it and comes back like nothing happened. At the very start of the episode, at 0 minutes 37 seconds, all the children greet Emily Elephant. Madame Gazelle is standing right there next to Emily. You can see her clearly. She is part of the scene. Then the camera cuts to a wider shot, and Madame Gazelle is simply gone. She has left the frame entirely. She is not standing off to the side. She is not behind someone. She is not visible anywhere. She has vanished from a stationary indoor scene in under 1 second. And the remarkable thing about this is that Madame Gazelle is the teacher. She runs the playgroup. This is her classroom. She was there to welcome a new student, and she could not stay in frame for a single camera cut. Wherever she went in those 0.3 seconds, it must have been important. Now let us get to the hot air balloon episode, because this is not just a continuity mistake. This is a factual error, a science mistake, a mistake about how the universe itself works. In the episode, Season 2, The Balloon Ride with Miss Rabbit, the family goes up in the hot air balloon and the sky is visible behind them. And in that sky, you can see both the sun and the moon at the same time. Fine. That actually happens in real life sometimes. The sun and moon are visible simultaneously fairly regularly. That part is not the mistake. The mistake is the direction the moon is facing. The illuminated side of the moon, the bright side, is facing away from the sun. That is physically impossible. The moon is only lit up because the sun is shining on it. So the bright side always faces toward the sun. Always. It cannot face away from it. What the animators have drawn is a moon that is being lit by something other than the sun. Something behind the viewer, somewhere off screen, some second light source that does not exist. They drew a moon that is lit from the wrong direction. In a children's cartoon about a pig family, I am not saying the animators needed to have a degree in astronomy, but they did need to look at the moon, at least once, from outside. Moving on to the episode George Catches a Cold, which is Season 2, Episode 24. In this episode, George is ill, and the family is at home taking care of him. But here is the thing about this episode that has always bothered me, and it is not an animation error. It is a factual error in the writing. The whole premise is that George caught a cold because he went out in the rain without his hat.
Oh, George, where's your hat?
Achoo!
George has caught a cold.
That is presented as fact by the narrator, by Mummy Pig, and by the entire structure of the story. The moral is essentially, wear your hat or you will get sick. Except that is not how colds work. Colds are caused by viruses. Being cold and wet does not give you a cold. You catch a cold by coming into contact with a cold virus, not because your ears got wet. This has been medically understood for a very long time. Peppa Pig aired this in 2007 and presented old wives' tale science to millions of children as straight fact. This is a show that sometimes gets praised for being educational. George wore his hat and everyone felt the lesson had been learned. Now, the dentist episode, Season 1. And this one has been discussed before, but I want to be very specific about it because the detail is genuinely wonderful. The episode notes from the Peppa Pig wiki confirm it directly. In the dentist room, quote, "Some things keep moving and disappearing." That is not my observation. That is on the official fan wiki. The production itself is so inconsistent in this single episode that it has been cataloged and noted by fans as a general ongoing problem rather than one specific mistake. Things move. Things disappear. The sink appears and disappears. And then, my absolute favorite detail from this episode, before the scene cuts to the dentist room, you can briefly see blue lines on the left and right sides of the screen. Just for a moment, blue lines. From the editing, left in by mistake. They literally left visible edit artifacts in the final broadcast version of the episode. The thing they were supposed to remove before it went on television is still there, on television, and it has been there since Season 1. And while we are talking about recycled content and things being reused, the episode George Catches a Cold has a line from Peppa.
That's disgusting!
When George sneezes on her, That exact audio clip, that same recording, is later reused in the episode Nature Trail when Peppa sees baby birds being fed worms.
That's disgusting!
Same line, same voice, same recording, different episode, different year, different scene, completely different context. They just dropped the same audio in again and hoped nobody would notice. And most people did not notice, because they were 4 years old when they first watched it. But some of those 4-year-olds are now adults on the internet, and they noticed. If you have made it this far and you are enjoying this, please do go ahead and like the video. It really does make a difference to how many people get to see it, and subscribe if you want more of this, because this is genuinely just the surface. I have a list that is much, much longer than what we covered today. We did not even get to Daddy Pig reading the map upside down in the balloon episode while confidently announcing he knows exactly where they are. We did not get to the recycling episode, which manages to criticize environmental carelessness in an episode where the animators added exhaust smoke to the family car for the first time specifically in the scene where they drive to go recycling. That one is almost art. We did not get to the fact that the Peppa Pig house appears to face a completely different direction depending on which episode you are watching, as if the hill it sits on has been slowly rotating for 20 years and nobody has gone outside to check. There is enough material here for many more videos, and we will get to all of it. Drop a comment below telling me which episode you want covered next, and I'll see you in the next one.